Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, we're talking about the 2018 NFL Draft Class, specifically the top 5 pursuit or inside linebackers in the 2018 NFL Draft Class based on analytics. And for this video, we're going to be going over the final list. So basically, this is the final top 5 for this class based on data, based on analytics. Some of these players are going to have ties. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Some of the players here, even though they're ranked 3 and 2, and I'll get to that a little bit later, are kind of a tie in terms of their overall projection. But this is going to be essentially the last sort of look at these players based on their production, based on their athleticism traits before the NFL draft gets here. So if there are any linebackers in this list that you do not see and you think they deserve to be here, and you want an explanation, you can purchase the 2018 NFL Draft Analytics Guide. So linebackers like Rashaan Evans, and just pretty much the vast majority of the linebackers that are in this draft class are in that guide. So you'll have athleticism data and production data. A lot of the data I'm going to be talking about in that video is going to be in that draft guide. So the link is in the description for that guide. All the money from that guide and proceeds go towards supporting this channel, and of course supporting me as well. So be sure to purchase that guide, which has pretty much as much information as you could possibly want in terms of athleticism and production data, and even age data referring to the 2018 NFL Draft Class. And if you're new to the channel and you're new to the work that I do, all terms and definitions will be in the description. So starting with the number 5 on this list, we have Micah Kiser, linebacker out of Virginia. I've already profiled him a bit before, but very strong production marks, 95.57 in terms of solo tackle production data. Pretty much hits all the all-pro thresholds you're looking for, and is above the Pro Bowl average score as well. And then when you get to his athleticism data, his athleticism traits, he was 83.02 in terms of explosive lower body strength score, 78.02 in terms of speed, and 85.05 in terms of flexibility for his size. He hits every single all-pro bottom end threshold in terms of his athleticism traits for the most part, being a little bit off in terms of explosion for his size, but still fantastic overall profile when you look at his athleticism traits and his production traits. Kiser, you know, is someone that is probably going to go day 3 to day 2 at best, and I think this is great value. So if you're able to get Micah Kiser later, you know, day 3, day 2, I think you're doing really well for yourself. So again, very productive player and very good athleticism traits all around. Then we get to the number 4 player in this list, Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker out of Virginia Tech. First off, by saying he is the youngest linebacker in this draft class. He's going to be a little over 20 years old when he's drafted, and will probably start the season under 21 as well, for the most part. So by far one of the youngest players in this draft class, which is one reason why he's number 4 on this list. Then we get to his production data, 93.57 in terms of solo tackle data for him. Doesn't really hit above the all-pro average score, but does hit at least above the Pro Bowl average score, which is very good for himself, and does hit at least the all-pro bottom end threshold. So again, he pretty much has all-pro potential based on his solo tackle data, but more so leaning towards Pro Bowler because of the averages. And then when you get to his athleticism data, he had a 78.32 in terms of explosive lower body strength score and a 95.43 in terms of his speed score. His explosion score doesn't really hit the minimum all-pro threshold in terms of linebackers, but it does hit at least the Pro Bowl threshold. And the only thing that's missing from his data is his flexibility score. Edmonds is someone that probably would have been higher on this list had he done that flexibility testing to a certain extent. But still, very strong overall profile. Deserves to be in the top 5 amongst the linebackers in this group, and has a profile to where he could end up becoming the best linebacker from this draft class when it's all said and done, because of his age, because of his production data, and because he has very good athleticism traits. So again, that's why he's number 4 on this list. Then we get to number 3 on this list, which is Layton Esch, linebacker out of Boise State. When you get to his production data, he had a 96.73 in terms of his production data, which is fantastic. Almost hits the all-pro average, but still very close to that average. So again, doesn't really hit above it, but still very close to hitting that all-pro average in terms of production data. course, hits above the Pro Bowl average and above the All-Pro threshold and Pro Bowl threshold. And he gets his athleticism traits, 98.52 in terms of explosive lower body strength score, 86.06 in terms of his speed score, and 97.22 in terms of his flexibility testing. He's kind of in between an All-Pro player and a Pro Bowl player when you look at the average All-Pro score and average Pro Bowl score in terms of athleticism traits. But he's still a very, very strong overall candidate to become the best linebacker from this draft class, or at least one of the best linebackers from this draft class. So again, when you're looking at the rankings on this list, don't look at it as like a hard and fast, like this is the best linebacker in the class, or at least this is the guy that's going to be the best amongst all these guys. But just look at it as this is a guy who tests really, really well and has a good chance to become a really strong player. And then, of course, let the film decide if the data matches up with them. But bottom line is, when it comes to Layton, very strong production profile, very strong athleticism profile. Only question mark really is he only had 1 year of production at Boise State, which has been a concern at other positions. I haven't done enough work into the linebacker position specifically, but that is like one little knock on him, just to mention. But other than that, still very, very strong overall profile. Then we get to number 2 in this list, which is Malik Jefferson, linebacker out of Texas. When you look at his production data, 97.39 in terms of his solo tackle data, which hits above the All-Pro threshold, and the bottom end All-Pro, above the All-Pro average score as well. So very, very strong overall production traits, and was at Texas, by the way, which I know Texas is not the biggest program ever, but it is better than Boise State when it comes to strength of schedule. Then he gets his athleticism traits, fantastic as well, 79.37 in terms of explosive lower body strength score, 92.46 in terms of his speed score, and 83.22 in terms of his flexibility testing. His explosion score is not exactly where it needs to be in terms of All-Pro potential, but he does hit at least All-Pro potential in terms of his speed score, All-Pro potential in terms of his flexibility score. It does look very much like a Pro Bowl linebacker when you look at his production data and when you look at his athleticism data. Jefferson is also another linebacker that gets a lot of hate, is seen more so as a day 2 pick amongst forecasters, guys that kind of forecast the draft and stuff like that. But still, very, very strong overall profile. If you end up with Malik Jefferson in day 2, I think there's a very good chance that he could outperform these numbers, or at least outperform where people see him in terms of him as an overall prospect. I think there definitely are some things on film that are questionable, but again, you add the production, you add the athleticism, you add his age. He's one of the younger linebackers in this draft class as well, and all those things point to very, very good things at the next level for him, and that is why he's number 2 in this list. And then finally, the number 1 best testing linebacker in this draft class based on data, based on analytics, is Roquan Smith, linebacker out of Georgia. Had a 99.15 solo tackle production score, by far the highest solo tackle production score in this draft class, and is one of the biggest indicators in terms of becoming a high-quality NFL linebacker at the next level. More so than athleticism data, production traits are a big, big factor in terms of determining the quality of a linebacker, regardless of athleticism traits. So there have been linebackers that have put up 90-plus percentile athleticism traits, but had a 66 production score and didn't really do much at the next level. So when it comes to linebacker projection, the solo tackle market share score, the solo tackle production score in general, is a big, big indicator. And Roquan Smith has the highest amongst all the players in this class, on top of playing one of the toughest schedules in this class as well at Georgia. This is a guy that was in the Final Four, for crying out loud. So he's playing one of the top teams in college football, and played really well in terms of his solo tackle data. Then he gets his athleticism traits. This is where he runs into a couple snags, had a 54.27 explosive lower body strength score, but a very, very good speed score. So he doesn't really hit to the All-Pro Pro Bowl threshold in terms of his explosion scores, but does hit at least All-Pro and Pro Bowl potential in terms of his speed score. And also the flexibility score is kind of missing, so it's hard to project with him. I will say this much about Roquan Smith. There is enough stuff missing in terms of his data to where he is one of those guys who does have some questionable information here, some questionable data. Like he's not a low-risk prospect, if that makes any sense, because he didn't hit all the numbers he needed to hit. Like he didn't hit all the numbers that Patrick Willis hit. He didn't hit all the numbers that Luke Kuechly hit. And that's the thing, too, I just want to make very clear to you guys. None of the linebackers in this draft class None of them really have perfect linebacker profiles. And there's no Urlachers. There's no Kuechly's. Like I said, there's no Ray Lewis's. You know, the list goes on and on in terms of like these special linebackers. There's no Navarro Bowman's even. Well, I mean, a couple. Malik Jefferson is kind of Navarro Bowman-ish in terms of his profile. But the bottom line is, when it comes to linebackers in this draft class, none of them are really perfect. A lot of them have some flaws here and there to their game, but they all have very, very strong profiles. You know, like they're not elite, but they're very, very strong profiles. So again, when it comes to the top 5 players in this list, don't look at this list as a hard and fast rule, like this is the best, and this is the second best, and this is the third best. Just look at it as the fact that these are guys who tested the way they tested. This is how they would rank based purely on numbers, and then you just let the film decide from there where you kind of rank these guys. So again, every linebacker in this draft class has something to nitpick them on, something to kind of pick on to lower their status. But the bottom line is, these are the top 5 best inside linebackers to outside linebackers in this draft class who have a very, very good shot at becoming high-quality players at the next level. And of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my other work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know. Hit that notification button so that you're always reminded when another video of mine drops. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace!